Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Okay, I have a little surprise for you. I did not tell you I was filming with this woman. I can't stop playing with this thing. Because I wanted to, every time I say I'm going to be filming with a facialist, we get the same questions. So I know what everyone wants covered. Also, I just wanted to talk about you and your brand and your story. And this is the amazing Renee Rouleau.
Hello.
Thanks for coming to London just to see me.
Yeah.
You're
the Love Box Festival.
You're going to a festival, yeah. We're gig goers, aren't we?
Yes.
We like a gig.
Yes.
If you don't know, this is Renee's line. You will have seen it on the blog and on YouTube and things, and on my Instagram and stuff, because when I was in New York, Renee was also in New York, and me and Renee and Joanna Vargas had a throwdown, huge 2-3 days of utter depravity. And when I say that, I mean literally drinking tea and gossiping, and talking about new treatments and science and some people chat, but mainly just the love of the industry, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
So for people who are unaware, where did you get your start?
So I've been an esthetician for 30 years, and my grandmother was a hairstylist and owned her own hair salon, so I grew up in that environment, and just was always a skincare junkie. I didn't know this, but I went to a class reunion one time, and someone was like, oh yeah, in the 5th grade, you were the first girl that wore makeup, and you used to come to the slumber parties and do everyone's makeup. And I was like, I did? But I love hearing that, because it was like, you know, I've always had my fingers in beauty things. And so I've been an esthetician for 30 years. I've owned Renee Rouleau for 23 years next month.
Wow.
And
you've got a lot of SKUs. There's 50 SKUs on the table in front of me. I will take a quick snapshot so you get to see them.
Yeah.
Where did you do your training?
Outside of Boston at a aesthetic school. It was, I think, like close to one of the first in the country or something, or you know. So it's still there. It's called Catherine Hines Institute of Aesthetics. And how I got my start was I worked at a salon, full service hair salon, and they had a facial room also. And my mentor, one of my coworkers became my mentor, and she taught me everything. And then we left the salon and started our own business together. So this was in like 91 when I was 21 years old, and we had that for 5 years and thriving, and it's called Elizabeth Renee Aesthetics, and it's still in business. But I just kind of, for personal reasons, I wanted to move out of the East Coast because I was living in Boston at the time, and so I sold my half of the business and then used that money and started in Dallas, and now our company's based in Austin. But her and I are still good friends, and it's still there, and she's still a mentor to me. But she was also a teacher at the aesthetic school originally, and Dr. Fitzpatrick of the Fitzpatrick Skin Type, she used to work with him, and so I mean she's like my hero.
Now I want to delve deep into that, because regular viewers of mine will have seen and read me talking about the Fitzpatrick Scale, and I always refer to it. I've tried to include it more in blog posts as well recently, more in reviews, if it's appropriate, because it's not always appropriate for a product.
Right.
You don't need to know what Fitzpatrick Scale you are to use a cleanser.
Yeah, no.
But if it is, then I use it. But tell me about meeting that, because that's a big deal. But you know, it's almost like, I'm sure some people don't even know that the man actually existed.
Yeah.
So I'll let you do, what is the Fitzpatrick Scale?
So what happened, so my line's based on 9 skin types. And so having personally known Dr. Fitzpatrick, I was really influenced by his philosophy. And basically he determined that there's different types, but his focus was more on tone, right? So kind of
melanin,
right, like how much pigment is in your skin. And so in this day and age, that comes in handy when people do laser treatments, but yeah, again, not really everyday skincare. And so when I worked at that first salon, I was right out of aesthetic school. I'd started taking clients. We were selling a skincare line, and when you're hands-on with clients, you all of a sudden realize, wait a minute, there's more to skin than just dry, normal, and oily, right? Like you're like, oh, wait a minute. And so then you go to recommend products, and we were selling a line that had 2 cleansers, 2 moisturizers, you know, the small range, and it was like, oh, wait a minute, like I don't have something for them. So then I convinced the salon owner to to bring in another line. I was like, I can sell well, but I need more things.
Product.
So we brought in another line, and then I convinced her to bring in another line because, again, I was trying to create these customized routines for my clients, but you need to have products to do it.
And ahead of your time doing that, because when I first started putting my routines up on Instagram and it was different products from different lines, people were like, why don't you use everything from the same line?
Right.
And I literally would say, I've never used everything from the same line.
Yeah.
I think my mother did in the 80s.
Right.
It was all Loncome.
Right, but you had to customize it because it's like people didn't have everything. So when I started Renee Rouleau, I said, let me solve this problem. And so I created the line based on 9 skin types. And so
that's a big undertaking. How many SKUs did you open with?
I probably started with about 12. So it was really limited, and then I kept adding to. And so the concept of like dry, normal, and oily, that's important because that tells you like how heavy or how rich a cream needs to be, right? So that's still that's still important. But what happens if you have somebody that still breaks out, but now they have wrinkles, right? They're forced to go one way or another. It's like, all right, kid, you either have to go to the teenage products and then totally dry out your skin,
and then you come and fix it with a really thick balm.
Exactly, and then that's going to clog your pores and cause problems. So so dry, normal, and oily still has its place, but people just have more unique needs, and so just the concept of like one size fits all, I can't buy into that because how can someone say that their 80-year-old grandmother needs the same products as Ava does, right?
Completely.
I mean, you just can't.
And it wouldn't stop Ava stealing her grandmother's products.
Yes, because we know she does.
But then she would break out with spots the next day, and it would serve her right.
Yes.
Okay, so that's genius. Now, your 9 skin types. What I love about this industry is that, and I spoke to Deja, that video will go up before this one. So Deja Ayodele is a black girlfriend of mine who started the Black Skin Directory.
I've heard you talk about it.
And she's just, I love it when you talk to people who are obsessed with the same thing you're obsessed with. So we did the same thing. We were talking beforehand, and I would go, wait, let's just save it for the video, because we would start talking. But we were again talking off camera about the different amount of skin types and how a lot of Caucasian estheticians are afraid of black skin. And her frustration came from, people saying, there's no one in my town who knows how to do black skin. And she would go, we're all trained to do your skin. They might be a bit intimidated.
Right.
So, and how everyone has a different, and, talking about how even the darkest of skins still has spots, has pigmentation, probably more than anyone, and how to spot the differences. So in putting it into 9 skin types, because there's lots of different options on the market, Leslie Bowman does a 16 skin type, and then I think in the early days, it was Rubenstein and Clinique who did oily, normal, dry. So where do you expand? Where does your 9 start at number 1, and how do you finish on number 9? Does it literally go from young teenage up, or is it more complex than that?
So it's oily and acne. So number 1 is the most oily acneic skin, and then 9 is dry, red, sensitive rosacea.
Got it.
And then kind of everything in between.
And everything in between. And so is your ethos basically you would sell them kind of the bookends, and then where they would all alter is maybe with serums and treatments in the middle?
No,
or is
really,
it much more prescriptive?
Yeah, it's much more.
It's so exciting!
I know. So we have a skin type quiz on our site. So
I love doing that. I do that every time I go onto your website. I do it just for fun.
Yeah.
Like in the old days with Clinique, when you used to have to do the slot things, and you'd be like, maybe I've changed. I was always number 2.
I find like with my skin types, what's interesting is even after 23 years of having the 9 skin types, I still got it right. I never had to change it from day one. And that always kind of amazes me. Like I just knew what the 9 were. I had enough experience under my belt working hands-on as an esthetician. I was like, these are the 9. And there's rarely a time that I ever say, I need a 10th or I need an 11th. Like I literally nailed it with the 9.
Good.
And
because you know your shiz.
So they say. And
something, you might know a little bit. You've learned something in the last 30 years.
Yeah, picked up
a few tips.
Exactly. But yeah, so the 9 skin types. So people really, I think when people find that, they find their skin type, they literally say, oh my gosh, this is magic. How did you know? So like, for example, one of our most popular skin types, skin type 2. So when people order one of the skin kits, I should pick out your skin type.
Oh yeah, do it.
All right, so let's see what Caroline is.
Hey, I'm all for show me.
I mean, without kind of talking,
I'm definitely towards the 9 end. I'm not number 1, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'm thinking Maybe 6. I mean, you don't have a lot of sensitivity. Well, I know you get kind of those weird vitamin C rashes sometimes.
Yeah, I get a bit of dermatitis.
Okay. And
but that's recent onset age, I think.
Well, do you also think it's maybe because of your retinoid use?
No, well, I've stopped. I haven't used any in months.
Okay.
Which is really weird, but my derm has now said you can go back to it.
Yeah, okay.
I got told off.
And do you get red easily? Like,
No.
are you a lot of flushed?
No, I'm always hot, but I don't flush.
And then do you feel like you still get a little bit of oil in through the T-zone?
Not really.
Not really?
Not really.
But you don't look particularly dry to me.
No.
I mean, I know you like oils, but
yeah.
I don't.
No, I'm quite balanced.
Yeah.
Touch wood at the moment. I love this. Oh my God, I feel like I'm having a treatment with you. I'm quite balanced at the moment. I've had contact dermatitis twice this year.
Okay.
So my skin is obviously still reactive.
Yeah.
But generally I can use most things. I had a massive reaction a couple of years ago, and Louise, who sits behind the camera, was in my room with me. I was packing for a trip and someone sent me something and I just sprayed my face and it went beetroot red in 20 seconds.
Yeah.
And I said to Lou, my face is burning, and she looked up and went, oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
And ever since then it's kind of been triggered, like triggers.
Yeah.
So I'm careful, but I can use most things on my skin. And I've had professional peels and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But I think, and this is another conversation that's coming, people brace yourselves, I think the hormones from HRT and bioidentical hormones has definitely helped.
Okay.
Because my skin is certainly more balanced than it has been for a couple of years.
Yeah.
To answer your question in a very long way.
Yeah. Yeah. Well.
So I think you're probably spot on. That sounds about right.
So skin type 6. So normal anti-aging, produces oil in the summer, mostly in T-zone. Skin can feel tight or dry during the winter.
Yep.
Needs hydration without heavy oils or pore clogging ingredients.
Yep.
May have enlarged pores, mostly in T-zone, including blackheads. I mean, we all have blackheads.
Mm-hmm.
May have hyperpigmentation, brown spots, a little bit of discoloration.
Do you like this one here? I call him Fred.
Yeah.
I've got one here. I'll show you on a close-up. But he just popped out of nowhere.
But I love how you make friends with them by giving them
What am I going
names.
to do?
Exactly. Skin may look tired in need of a glow.
Oh yeah,
so
that's
that one,
so me.
Well, because you also have more yellow undertones in your skin, and so naturally people that are a little more sallow need kind of that brightness. So
like a bit of fake tan.
We have like our energy boosting toner, which is all about bringing brightness to the skin. Wants to keep skin healthy and smooth. Concerned about aging and loss of tone. Right?
Bang on.
See?
You've done this before.
But that's
so what are you?
It's interesting because I was a skin type 2 forever, and I kept just always saying I was a skin type 2. And
then you got older.
Yeah, and then about a year ago, I was like, I don't think I'm a 2 anymore.
Right.
And so 2 this is probably our most popular skin type.
Yeah.
So skin type 2 is oily combination, occasional breakouts, anti-aging.
Right.
Enlarged pores, produces oil mostly in T-zone. Skin feels tight, irritated, or sensitive when harsh products are used. Needs hydration without heavy oils or pore clogging ingredients. May get occasional mild breakouts and cysts. So that's either weekly or monthly. So it's that occasional thing.
Yep.
And then the post-blemish red dark scars that linger. Wants to keep skin healthy and smooth. Concerned about aging. May have hyperpigmentation. So that's that kind of like, hey, I still get breakouts, but it's like, it's not my main concern, but now I'm getting wrinkles, but I got to be careful.
That group in the middle.
Yes. So I usually think it's like, generally it's like 25 to age 35, sometimes a little closer to 40, but somewhere in that range is probably...
So really, if someone was coming on board and just looking at your website now, because I'll link everything below, obviously, people, you would assume if they were older, they would be a slightly higher number, unless, for example, someone was, say, 44 and just came off the pill for the first time in 30 years.
Right.
In which case you have a teenage skin.
Right.
I think people forget that. If you've been on the pill for 30 years
right.
and you stop taking it, you go back to having a teenage skin because your hormones do this.
That's right, that's right.
So,
well, actually, funny you should say about the 1 to 9. So for some reason, I put 2 in the wrong place. So 3 is much more breakout prone.
Interesting.
So I don't know why I did that. So 2 should technically be more like in a 4 or 5. So that's the one. Bump in the road is the number 2. So what we do is when people take the skin type quiz, they can order the products 3 ways. They can either piecemeal it and do it individually, or we have a basic kit, which is 3 products. So that person's that like, what are the 3 best products just to start with? Renee, I'm interested in your line, but I want to take it slow, so if they can do the basics. Or the essentials is 6-piece, so now you've got kind of your morning and night routine, a couple serums, a couple bells and whistles added. Or then we have the complete, which is like 12 products. So that's your eye cream, your mask, like all the extra
your whole
things.
thing.
And then when they order one of those kits, then they get the card and it tells them step-by-step instructions on how to use it. So
I love these are wicked.
A lot of people will, you know, tape it to their mirror and then it tells them how to use it, because that's the hard part. You get products and you're like, okay, wait, am I supposed to use this in the morning, at night? I don't know.
Yeah.
And so we kind of make it easy for people.
Talk me through it.
Yes.
And also, the other thing I love about you is that you're B2C. So
correct.
Which is B or D to C, depends where you live, but B to C is business to consumer. So you don't sell in retailers, you sell directly to your consumer in your place of work and online.
Correct.
Which means as well, I imagine like a Jordan Samuel model, you are although you did it 25 years earlier, but you're able to keep your prices
absolutely.
way more
absolutely.
achievable than if you had to put a 50% retailer margin in there.
So what's interesting is my brother is a web developer, and
that's handy.
Yes, and I started e-commerce in 1999. We've been selling online since '99. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
I mean,
you're a ledge.
So they say. But
see, can I just also say that every time I speak to Renee, either on social or on, if I mention her on Instagram or she's in a video, I get 3 or 4 retailers the next day, because that's what I do for a living. Is I work in the industry too. I know you know that, but there might be other people who don't. And they all say, can you give me Renee Rouleau's details? We really want her brand. And I'm like, you got no chance, dude. And no, I can't give you her details. I'm literally like, ha, no.
Yes, I have. Well, thank you. I've turned down a lot of opportunities that people would just say I'm crazy for. But the reality is, for me, I'm not looking to be a household name.
Yeah.
I'm not looking to have my name up in lights.
Yeah.
Like, I'm driven and ambitious, but that just doesn't fuel me. At the end of the day, I'm looking to build a great company. So what fuels me is helping people, you know, whether it's our customers, helping them with their skin, or building a great team at Renee Rouleau, like all of our employees. Like that's kind of where my investment is. And I feel like I've seen way too many companies that are all about growth and never about the people, right?
Yeah,
and so
that's
it's
the
like
biggest mistake.
we're like people
and you've
over
got really
profits.
strong people retention, haven't you?
Yes.
People have been with you for years. Family.
Yes.
Family.
And so actually one of our, companies have, financial goals and that sort of thing. And we have those too, but one of our goals in the next year and a half is to get recognition as the best company to work for. And to me,
100%.
Those are my proudest moments. Not going, oh, we had 100 million in revenues or got acquired. Like, no, it's
And
it's
would I be
people.
right in assuming that the company is yours?
100%.
And that's why.
100% of the company.
And that is why.
Yes.
Because you don't have shareholders going,
That's right.
you need to bring profit down.
Exactly.
You need to make that for half the price it costs, because you can say, I'm going to charge what I
Yeah.
want, and if I take a little bit of a loss on this, it's fine.
Right, exactly.
I love that. I'll also let you into a little bit of a secret. Well, it's not a secret, but we know there are, and we know them all, we know who we're talking about. There are estheticians, facialists, and doctors who just want to be famous. I will never have them on my channel. I don't review their product. I'm not interested in putting them in front of my audience. It has to be, like Joanna I would say Joanna Vargas is a famous esthetician.
Sure.
But when you actually meet her, she's borderline timid until we have dinner.
Yeah.
That's different. But I mean, in front of her clients,
Yeah.
she's not, look at me.
Right.
It's look at the beautiful skin of my clients.
Yes, yeah, right. There's just no ego there with her.
I can't deal with the, I fixed this person's face. I'm like, oh, it's about your client. It's not about you.
Right. Well, and that's the thing, like, I work in LA a lot, but, there's a mindset of a lot of people where they want to get famous, but they're trying to, like, why does someone feel the need to get famous, right? So there's just like, it's not me. I don't, that's not my thing, but I don't crave that. And if somebody does, that's great. But
it's great as long as it's not to the detriment, I think, of their client and their team.
Yeah.
Each to their own.
Yeah.
But
egos can kind of get a little out of control sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing we all hate more than the term celebrity facialist, because that's just driven by marketing and beauty editors, which is fine.
Yeah, right.
But, Renee does very famous faces and has done for a long time, and only talks about them if that person has spoken about you, as you would expect.
That's right.
There's no leaks. There's no paparazzi waiting anywhere because no one's going to leak it to them.
Yeah.
But I did use Renee. I think you are the only contact I've ever used to get a message from one of your famous clients. For 2 girlfriends of mine, do you remember the Lisa Rinna moment? So Nadine Baggett and Emma Guns love Real Housewives, and Renee has done Lisa Rinna for 75 years. Around.
Yeah.
And I said, by the way, my girlfriend's obsessed with Lisa Rinna. I know her, but I don't watch the show. She was like, oh, she went, oh, I'm with her, I'll get her to say something. And Lisa Rinna sent us the funniest message. Hello, Nadine and Emma. And I thought they were going to actually expire. So in that way, it's fine. If it, if you said, oh, it's not appropriate, they're not really up for that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I would be like, even sorry for asking, but you know, you kind of get the feeling of who, because she talks about you every time she sees you.
Exactly, yeah.
So it's different.
Yeah, no, I knew that. I mean, she's so generous and sweet that way, and so I knew it was appropriate. I mean, she'd be fine with me asking her.
That was so funny. I thought Nadine was actually going to wet herself. Hello, Nadine. She was like, and she really hammed it for the cameras too. It was brilliant.
Yeah. Oh my
It's on my Instagram if you want to see it. Okay, so talking about product. You must though, even though you have the nine skin type system, you must have like sort of top 5 bestsellers. You can briefly show us.
So my biggest claim to fame is our anti-bump solution. Here's the crazy story behind that product. So it's this one right here. It was formerly called anti-cyst treatment. We recently changed the name, and
anti-bump.
Yes, but here's the crazy thing about it. I don't really know how it works.
Good to know.
And yes, and what I mean by that is when I first worked at that first salon, when I first got my start, we sold a skincare line, and they had ampules, and it was for acne, and so I'd recommend them for acne, but at the time, or even this day and age, I mean, all acne is more about pustular acne because you can't really do anything for cysts other than get a cortisone shot. And so I'd be selling it to my clients, and all of a sudden I'd get this feedback. Someone said, well, I had one of those undergrounders, and I used it on that, and it seemed to work so much better for those than my regular acne. And I was like, oh, well, really? And then I kept hearing it. Well, they ended up discontinuing it, and I was like, oh my gosh, no. Well, by this time, I was already in Dallas, but I was still selling it. I started my own line, but I was still selling those little ampules because people were using it for more of their cysts, and it was working well. Then the company ended up discontinuing it, so I asked them if I could buy the formula.
I love that about you. Straight in.
Yeah,
Genius.
So I bought the formula from them, and we've since modified it a little bit. But long story short,
it's
for cystic blemishes. So the hard, sore, hormonal. You can get them at all.
You wake up and you're like, ow.
Yes.
But there's nothing there.
It doesn't come to a head. It goes back down under. And this product is our #1 bestseller. I've sold it, with Renee Rouleau for 23 years. I sold it for 5 years with Elizabeth Renee, and then another 2 years at that first salon.
Amazing.
So I mean, I've had millions of years with this, and when I tell you, I've gotten thousands of people saying that their cysts that normally they go get a cortisone shot for, it takes it down in like a day or two, and normally it would linger for like a week or something, but literally I don't know how it works. So when I bought the formula, I remember I talked to the chemist and I said, what is it? It has lactic acid in it. I mean, it's not an exfoliator. So sometimes people will go, oh yeah, a dupe for that, just go get some lactic acid. Well, I'm telling you, like, I don't know what the magic is in here. So I asked the chemist, I was like, what do you think? And somehow it was just like,
a mixture of all of it.
Yeah, it's just like, it's just kind of like a unicorn. It just is magic. And so I literally don't know how it works.
But that's your best-selling SKU.
But it works, and super proud of that. So
marvelous. I'll be keeping that. And the others, please.
What else is popular? So our triple berry smoothing peel.
Oh yeah,
I see people with all
over social
it's bright
media.
Red. It's like looks like berry jam.
I always think people have done a vampire facial and then I realise it's your mask. I'm like, oh god, it's not blood, it's her mask.
So this is an at-home peel, and it's amazing. It smells super good. Smells like raspberry jam. And then
what I like is that you do a good mix of, you use a lot of naturals, but you are very definitely a science-led brand.
Correct.
What I love about you is that you use a lot of naturals, and you use a lot of, like, I know you use a lot of fruit and things like that, but you are proper science-led. You never say the word green.
Yeah, for sure.
You're proper science-led.
And this is what I believe is there's a place for both. But nature gives us kind of a slow and steady path to good, the integrity of the skin.
Look, it is literally like raspberry jam.
Yes, you can put it on your scones.
Oh, don't tell me that though, because I will.
But yeah, so nature kind of provides us a supporting role that we need for kind of the health of the skin. But at some point, you need that
You need
extra.
to synthesize it with a chemical.
Yeah, I mean, you know, to really drive performance, and I think at the end of the day, I mean, our customers, they want to get results,
Yeah.
and so I think there's room for both. So I leave out a lot of the, you know, the bad type of ingredients. I mean, so when I started my line 23 years ago, I didn't have sulfates in them. From day one, it was sulfate free. From day one, no synthetic fragrances. From day one, no synthetic dyes. I certainly had parabens in the products because everybody did back then.
We love a paraben. They'll come back because everything else is now turning green on the shelf. What can you do?
Exactly. So yeah, so I think there's a place for both. But my mission is really about driving results, and sometimes you just need to bring in that science to do it. And so best of both.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got anti-bump and smoothing peel.
Yes,
Hit me up with another one.
Rapid Response Detox Mask. We launched that about a year and a half ago. This has been great because it's considered an acne mask, but it's hydrating, calming, anti-inflammatory, but then also it's proven it has a 5-minute kill rate for the microbial count on the skin.
I love that.
So it kills
Kill rate.
Yes, the kill rate. And so this again is for that kind of that person. I mean, a teenager with acne could use it, but that adult that still gets breakouts, but they don't want to dry out their skin. Yeah. So it's actually a hydrating gel.
So pretty.
Yeah,
I know
shimmer.
It's not supposed to be pretty,
but
that shouldn't be what I focus on, but it is.
But and again, no synthetic fragrances, no synthetic dyes. It uses what's called a Lima complex, which is manuka and tea tree. It's steam distilled extracts of those, and but it's also super calming, super hydrating, but antibacterial, and it creates an environment in the skin where bacteria can't thrive, and therefore it helps with acne.
You're going to have trouble getting all this out of my office. Yeah.
So then we came out, just yesterday as a matter of fact, we came out, we wanted to, since Rapid Response Detox Mask has done so well, we came out with a Rapid Response Detox Toner and Cleanser.
Oh, good.
So,
good
but what I wanted them to have, you know, some properties from the mask, but then add some other things that were appropriate. So the cleanser is a little bit, has more clay in it, so it's kind of more oil absorbing when you wash your face. The toner has prebiotics in it,
nice.
And it has a little bit of acids in it. It's not, I wouldn't consider it a liquid acid toner by any means, but it does help with kind of that clarity of the skin.
Okay.
Yes, and then, this is super cool, we have the Rapid Response Detox Kit.
So they get the whole
So what they get is smaller sizes of the cleanser and toner, and then the babies of the peel and the Rapid Response Detox Mask, because you use those together. First you exfoliate, then you mask.
Right.
And so we put this cute little text bubble on here that said, "Help, my skin's been breaking out lately. I don't know what's going on. What should I do?" Switch up your current routine with the kit to get your skin back in the clear without causing dryness or irritation. Because there's so many people that get breakouts sometimes and will come out of nowhere, but then again, what are they supposed to do? Change their entire routine?
Yeah.
And so basically the solution is, no, use this kit until you get everything back to normal, and then go back to your regular routine. So, because, you know, a lot of people, when I travel, I break out, or that time of the month, you know, but it's not all the time. And again, that's adults, right? People still battle with this. So this was meant to really like allow them to sub in something as they need it, and then go back to their regular
routine. To normal, without having to buy like a whole different caboodle.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Now, what have you got? What's your sort of plans for the brand? World domination, or are you just going to keep ticking over and doing what you do best?
So we have very steady growth every year. So I like forward momentum. So as much as I say I don't want to take over the world, I still like to move forward. Right?
Yeah, of course.
So, and we don't have to do much to make us grow, which is nice. But yeah, just keep doing what we do, and just, you know, keep innovating and coming out with new products. I think that the neat thing about being an esthetician is those conversations you have with your clients, right? That's market research all the time.
All the time.
And you know what's also interesting too, I know certainly you've talked about it a lot before, and I mean you enjoy it, but like the concept of doctors versus estheticians.
Yep.
And,
you're not a doctor.
Right, exactly. And you know, so sometimes I've been accused, like because I have a really popular blog, of my information being anecdotal. but it is anecdotal, right? But it's 30 years. When you hear something enough from people for 30 years,
it's not an anecdote. It's
right.
literally a trail.
Yes, right. You pay attention to it, and so I think there's a place for doctors. There's a place for estheticians, but I think that doctors, they spend such a short time with people, and then they don't really see them again, right? And so you can't truly play detective with people to really get to the root of it when you're just 5 minutes, here's your prescription, I may or may not see you again. When you're an esthetician and you see your clients every month or every 2 months, you're with them for 90 minutes, then you see them again.
Then you have the responsibility, and when they walk in. Deja was saying, people go up to see her in her room, and as they come up the stairs, she says your skin's improved, or, as I would used to say to people, you've been partying.
Yeah.
Because you can see on their face. You don't want to make them feel bad, but you're like, all that work we did, and you're undoing it.
Right. Oh yeah.
Party away, but make sure you do the aftercare.
Yeah. When you get to know someone's skin, I mean, you can tell when when their lifestyle is adding into the factors. But yeah, so I think 30 years of being 4 inches away from people's faces.
You touch a lot.
Yes.
Of people.
Like I remember one time I had a client that I was working with her for a couple months, and then all of a sudden it appears she's getting rosacea. So she had started to get a red spot here, and a red spot on her forehead. Just these 3 spots. But she had, very olive skin. She was German. Like, she's not somebody that you would think of getting rosacea, but it was kind of looking like rosacea. And so she said, I'm getting this redness. And she said, a friend of mine is a doctor, and I was out with her the other night, and she told me she could give me a prescription for rosacea. And I went, it's just not
rosacea.
Well, yeah. Well, I said, it's just, I'm not really feeling like this is it. Well, do you know what it is? So I said to her, I go, because I had gotten her on my routine a couple months earlier, and she was using acids for the first time. And I said to her, I go, do me a favor, show me how you put on the acid.
Oh, no.
And so she goes, well, I pump it out, and I put one dot, splotch here, splotch here, splotch here. And then she rubs it in. Well, every night, she wasn't using it every night, but basically, 4 times a week, she went here, here, here. But literally, when I said, show me how you put it on, her finger went to the exact spots of these things. Red. So it was getting and I had her using our Pro Results Power Serum, which is 20%, so it's strong. So she was getting these really strong areas, but had, but here a doctor friend was about to put her on a rosacea medication, but through conversation and that sort of thing, we determined. So I said, now rub it in your hands and then put it all over.
Yeah, don't go dab.
Yeah, isn't that funny?
Can we also stop the whole pipette onto the face on Instagram? I can't. It sends me, I want to throw my phone through the TV screen. The pipette dropping on the face. What are you doing? Oh my God, just stop. Yes. Okay, so 30 years to finish up.
Yes.
What have you learned? What's the best thing you've learned about people or product, and then we'll do myths.
Well, let me talk about when I met Dr. Fitzpatrick.
Oh yeah.
So this is a fun story. So when I first met him, my mentor, my coworker said, "Oh, Renee, you need to look at his hands." And I said, "Hands?" And so he said, "Yeah, look at my hands." And he put both of his hands out. And at the time, he's since passed away, but at the time he was in his early 50s. And he said, "Renee, can you tell a difference in my hands?" And I looked at his hands, and one of his hands was so much younger than the other, like less brown spots, smoother, thicker, plumper, 10-year age difference with his hands. And I said, yeah, what is that? Well, he was the chief of dermatology at Mass General Hospital, and back in the late 70s or whatever, when Retin A, which is a prescription retinoid, came out, it was for acne. And so he would say to his patients, okay, listen, I'm going to give you this tube of this cream, and you have to use it sparingly because it's going to really dry out your skin. I'm going to show you how much to use. So he would take, he was right-handed, he would take a small amount of it, and he'd say, okay, teenage boy, you're just going to use this amount, and then go to bed or whatever. Well, day in and day out, he is putting this Retin A on his hands, and one day he goes, wait a minute, what's going on? And he was instrumental in getting the FDA in the U.S., getting it approved as the first ever topical aging cream.
Yeah, anti-aging.
And so I saw it with my very own eyes.
Amazing.
And so I learned long ago the activity that vitamin A can have, and so I'm just such a believer. And so many people, they are doing all these things.
They're doing all the things,
but they're not using a retinol or a retinoid, and it's just like that is like.
Fundamental.
Yes, I mean, if there ever is a fountain of youth, like that is it. And so people will spend, thousands of dollars on lasers, but it's like, get a nice, I have a retinol in my line, which I love, but I mean, that's just like, and I saw it with my very own eyes. I mean, a 10-year difference in his hands. And
there is a famous beauty editor who's ex-Vogue. So basically, now the story is, all the big beauty directors have one hand that's younger than the other, from years of doing appointments and testing, and certainly my left hand is a bit sexier than my right hand.
Oh wow!
But not to the extent of using a Retin A on it every day.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
And then myths, the biggest myths that drive you crazy, and they never go away, and you keep hearing them. I love throwing these out at people.
I know. So biggest myth, myth. Okay, my favorite one. I'm a believer that everyone should wear makeup every day. So I work a lot in young Hollywood. I have a lot of people with acne, and everyone's goal is to not have to wear makeup, right? Makeup is kind of the enemy. So I understand when you have acne, you hide under it, right? And people want to be free from that. Renee, clear up my skin so I don't feel like I have to hide. I totally get that. But makeup is your friend. A lot of people always think like the concept of the skin breathing. Well, we know the skin doesn't have a respiratory system, and but makeup, another story. So when I first came to Dallas, I noticed that all the older women, the women that were like in their 70s, they had such beautiful texture of their skin. They look so much younger than when the equivalent of 70-year-olds in Boston. But when you think of Texas, you think of sun damage and weather. Well, yes, they had that. Well, come to find out, or this is my anecdotal theory, is Max Factor makeup, which was the first makeup. I'm sure your mother's familiar with all that era, but they did like the pancake makeup. For whatever reason, women in the South, in the U.S., embraced makeup way more than Northern women do.
Because they sweat more.
Would you say? Oh,
they sweat more.
Oh.
So when I was at Mississippi, I never saw my mother without makeup unless it was in the house.
Really?
They would powder themselves and use everything because of the heat.
Wow. Okay. Great. Good to know. And so women, and I had clients, I remember when I came to Dallas, when I started taking clients, after a facial, they would go into the bathroom, put on the full face of makeup. And these are also women that went to bed after their husbands and woke up before their husbands.
To put the makeup on. Yeah, my mum never went that far.
Okay. So, so what I determined was, most makeup has titanium dioxide in it, which is what Max Factor had as well back in the day, and that's a natural sunscreen. So all those Southern women that were wearing makeup, all those through the 50s, 60s, and 70s,
had SPF before it even came out.
Yeah. So I always tell people, you want to wear makeup. Don't think of makeup as a bad thing. You obviously want to wear makeup that is appropriate for your skin type. I mean, if you're wearing makeup and you're getting bumps and it's clogging your pores, then that's not a good thing. But wear some sort of mineral powder at the very least, some sort of, ideally a foundation, whatever it is. But that's your insurance policy to really protect your skin, because most people aren't applying sunscreen enough because historically they're heavy, they're greasy, so people use them sparingly. The natural oils in your skin will break them down during the day. But makeup, I like to think of it as a skincare product because it is protecting your skin. And I saw that with all these Southern women.
Southern belles.
Yes, they were Southern belles for sure.
From the horse's mouth, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
And by the way, it is so hot in London, and I stuck my head out the window to wave at Renee and show her where the office was, and she's in a sweater. And then I realised that's when you know someone really is from the south.
Yes.
I mean, we're at it's only 25, 26 degrees, but we're sort of a bit higher up. We have 5 fans going, and she walks in a sweater.
No sweat.
I could be lying on the floor naked with a fan on me. I can't even. But I appreciate that you say so cool and collected while I sweat into a pool next to you. And enjoy Lovebox.
I will. And her and I both have big birthdays that we're celebrating right around the corner.
I'm about 3 weeks older than you, aren't I?
Yes.
We're going to be 30.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've been
Plus 20.
You've been doing facials since you were born.
Yes, but yes, basically.
So enjoy the UK,
Thank you for having me.
and I will see you when I'm back in the US or when you're back here.
Yes, either LA or New York.
Yeah.
Because I saw you
In both.
Yes.
Oh, too much fun.
Yes.
I will link everything below. Renee ships from the US, so if you do buy from the US, I'll link below how that would work.
We actually do, the UK is our third international area that we ship to, and we do free shipping with $150 USD spend to customers in the UK.
She likes us.
I do.
Thank you for coming.
Thank
As
you.
always, a pleasure. Oh. And thank you for watching. Sorry, having a moment. Bye!